Fountains open deep and wide, through the floodgates of God's mercy, flow the vast and gracious tide. Grace and love like mighty rivers, poured incessant from above, and heaven's peace and perfect justice kiss the guilty world in love.
Shalom, everyone. Thank you for joining me today on Mercy Poured Forth. It is Wednesday, August 10th. So glad to be back with the group. We took a short trip down to Florida and got to see some family and spend some time on the beach. Just an amazing creation, what the ocean can do for you. It kind of resets everything. So I'm so thankful to get that and to witness just the beauty in that. Today, I wanted to talk about courage, having good courage. Something that, we probably all have struggled with in a moment or two in our lives. And it's so important. You find it mentioned all throughout the scriptures, to be strong and have good courage. So I did want to share what I had found today on that. And I hope that it all blesses you. Thank you for everyone joining in today. Between the River and the Ravens, Blood of the Lamb Ministry, Nina, Wirewool, Shell, good to see all of you. I am going to be with Shell here shortly after this program with Let's Talk Torah. Since I was gone Sunday, we're going to make up, and I'm going to be doing the half Torah, and she's going to be doing the Besor portion today. So be sure to join us for that. And then also later this afternoon with Chris McIntyre, we've got Out of Africa with his Hebrews. And then this evening, we've got Robert Wagner with his Saved by Grace. So a busy day on Wednesday, but lots of programmings. I hope that you can join in and enjoy all of those. So how do we stand boldly for Yahuah in a world that is consumed with corruption, being narcissistic, and rebelling towards our Most High? It definitely is not the easiest path when you set yourself apart and turn your back on the things the world celebrates and cherishes. We must have courage and boldness like a lion to overcome the challenges we face and the enemies that stand in our way. One of the first topics discussed on Walking in the Word was setting healthy boundaries, which is so important for us that walk this narrow path. Most people will not understand or try to find out why we walk against the grain of society. By doing so, we not only set an example by shining our light to those who need it, but also set a boundary they have to respect in order to maintain a relationship with us. Such an easy concept, but I for one, kind of overlooked that idea. Setting a boundary is so healthy, and in order for people to respect what you have in place, you've got to set that out. You can't just assume it, think it in your mind. You have to actually set it. And you will be amazed that once you do that, depending on if they want to participate with you or not, they will start to respect that. I know we've had to do that when it comes to Shabbat, making events, having plans on Shabbat. Of course, occasionally things do come up, but we try to dedicate that time and day for our rest with Yah. And so people will, start to make plans around that, as well as eating clean. Once they know that these foods are not in your library of foods to eat, they will hopefully start to consider that and, making sure that this is acceptable to eat. I know we've had family starting to do that, and it's a great feeling to know that they do care enough to consider us and to make sure that we are going to be provided as well. So there's many different ways you can stand boldly. It's not always easy, but it is very important. A great example, of course, there's so many characters throughout the Bible that had great boldness, great courage, probably too many to list this morning, but one that really stuck out in my mind was Daniel. Of course, we're all familiar with his story, in just the way that he, experienced his courage through some of his trials. Was a great, amazing thing. I'd like to share a few things with you on that. Daniel is a great example of having bold courage, demonstrating the courage to pray to Yahuwah 3 times a day, even though it was against the law and his life had been threatened for doing so. He could have done it in private, but chose to do it with his windows open for all to see. The very thing he was going to be punished for, which was prayer, was the exact response to the law, prayer. His honor of Yahuwah in prayer overpowered the temptation to be afraid of people. When you put your trust and your faith and your belief in Yah, your fears and anxieties and worries start to just fizzle away. We all deal with struggles and things that kind of can overcome us, even if it's just emotionally. But trusting in him, having that courage, knowing that he has the plan for us, we just need to follow along and let him be in control. Things that tend to plague us, even if it's just our mind, those things will be overcome by the power of Yahuwah. So, of course, he was being threatened to be put to death because he refused to stop praying to his Elohim. So the punishment for that was going to be thrown into the lion's den, a certain death for sure. I doubt anyone previously had successfully spent an evening with the lions and came out that morning. He did not question or lose sight of the plan Yahuwah had for him. If he had never been thrown into the lion's den, then the people of the city would have never known the rescuing power of our Father Yahuwah. When the king heard that the Elohim of Daniel sent his angels to close the mouths of the lions to protect him, he was exceedingly glad that he actually made a new law for all the nations to fear and respect the Elohah of Daniel, who delivered, rescues, and works signs and wonders in heaven and in earth. So that's just an example of why we need to be a light. We need to show the power of Yah through our actions and our words so others can see. You never know what kind of, what will actually happen in other people's lives when they witness your experiences, just your positive attitude. Even if you are dealing with issues, they're going to start to question and wonder, how are you making it through this with a positive mindset? It's because of Yah, trusting in him. We don't fear when we have him on our side. No enemy will prevail when he is on our side. So there's a verse out of Proverbs 28:1. The wicked flee when no man pursues, but the righteous are bold as a lion. A guilty conscience will make pursuers out of nothing, just like how Adam fled and hid from the voice in the garden because they had sinned, and now his conscience was condemning their actions. Yah was walking, not stalking, yet Adam and Eve felt it in his presence and were afraid of him. We've all been there where we've done something wrong and it's just eating up. Our conscience is eating at us. Got a sick stomach, nerves, all that goes along with that. And it's amazing what that can actually do to your mind and your spirit. An example would be driving down the road and you see, an ambulance, but you automatically assume that it's a police officer pulling you over. A phone call or a text message, you're automatically assuming it's, the worst situation about the person that you wronged. There's so many examples that you can think of where when you have a guilty conscience, it automatically turns to that fearfulness and that worst case scenario. There is a connection between wickedness and fear on one hand, and righteousness and courage on the other hand. The good news gospel is a message about how the wicked people can get right with Yahuwah through the Messiah Yahusha. So in turn, they will have a righteousness that makes them bold as a lion. Through Philippians 1, towards the end, 27 through verses 30, we see how Paul is describing and speaking on letting your life be an advertisement for how valuable the gospel is. He said one of the effects that the gospel has on the life of those who believe is fearlessness. Lead a life worthy of the gospel, so when I come, I may find that you stand firm, unafraid of any of your opponents. So like I was just saying, when we value the scriptures and we live by the scriptures and have that strong, good courage, we lose sight of the fear, lose sight of what the world is trying to do, consume us, and get us off our path, distract us. A great example of how Paul was bold and courageous is in Acts 19:18. And he went into the synagogue and spoke boldly for the space of 3 months, disputing and persuading the things concerning the kingdom of Elohim. Just an example right there of how to be bold and courageous is to speak the word. That's something I'm still overcoming myself, is some of those fears and anxieties of being on here each and every day that I am. It's not something that's necessarily comfortable to do, but I know that it's what Yah wants me to do and that he is with me. And so once it starts, it all goes away. And I may stumble over words here and there, but that's okay. I know you guys aren't here to judge. You're just hungry for the word. And I've asked Yah each and every time that he just gives me the words that I need to speak out. So I'm so thankful for everyone in the chat that participates. And I hope that you guys always enjoy the content that's brought forth on Heart of the Tribe and can glean something. I definitely have missed getting to see all of our shows. I've got some catching up to do, but these Mercy Pours Forth are definitely a great way to start my morning on the right foot, on the right track. I do have a few more verses I want to share. I'm going to start with one out of Jasher and end with one in Jasher. This is out of 91:17. Strengthen yourself and let the hearts of all of you that trust yahuah be of good courage. So, he's almost giving us that responsibility of to stand strong, strengthen ourselves. We do that by digging into the word, by fellowshipping with others. It's like iron sharpening iron. That's how we strengthen each other and ourselves. It's just amazing that we can all bring so much knowledge and share with each other. It's a great thing to be able to have that opportunity. Matthew 22:36 through 40. We all know this one, but I just love reading it. Rabbi, which is the great commandment in the Torah? Yahusha said unto him, You shall love Yahuwah Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these 2 commandments hang all the Torah and the prophets. It does take courage and boldness to love Yah with all your heart, mind, and soul. It's not always easy to give all of yourself to him. But when you do, there's a peace and a shalom that you'll have never experienced before. I'm so thankful that our eyes have been opened and that we have found this narrow path, that we can trust in him, give him all of our troubles, lay them down at the cross so that he can bear the burden for us, because it is not a heavy burden. It's a light, peaceful existence once you give yourself to him. Deuteronomy 31:6 through 8. Be strong and of good courage. Fear not, nor be afraid of them. For Yahuwah Elohim, he it is that goes with you. He will not fail you nor forsake you. And Moshe called unto Yahusha and said unto him in the sight of all, Yasharel, Be strong and of good courage, for you must go with this people unto the land which Yahuwah has sworn 7 oaths unto their fathers, and give them, and you shall cause them to inherit it. And Yahweh, he it is that goes before you, he will be with you. He will not fail you neither forsake you. Fear not, neither be dismayed. It had to take a lot of courage to go into a new land, an unknown land, where there was giants and all kinds of things that they had to overcome to finally get to this promised land. An example I can think of is just going to a new school or moving to a new town when you're younger. There's a lot of fear in that sometimes, not knowing anybody, not knowing what to expect. So it does take great courage to take on something new, to tackle a new adventure. But like it says right here, Yah is with you. He will never forsake you. So keep that as comfort, knowing he is right there with you throughout every experience, good or bad. This is almost the same verse, just a little bit revised out of Joshua 1:6-9. Be strong and of good courage, for unto this people shall you divide for an inheritance the land, which I swore 7 oaths unto their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous, that you may guard to do according to all the Torah, which Moshe my servant commanded you. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wheresoever you go. This sefer of the Torah shall not depart out of your mouth, but you shall meditate therein day and night, that you may guard to do according to all that is written therein. For then you shall make your way prosperous, and then you shall have good success. Have not I commanded you? Be strong and of good courage. Be not afraid, neither be dismayed, for yahuah Eloheka is with you wheresoever you go. So that's our way to success right there, to speak, to honor, and to do the commands of the Torah. It's as easy as that. To have good success and to prosper, we are to speak those words. And by speaking that, we then are an example to those that are not familiar with it, that don't have that in their life. And hopefully will be an example and a bright enough light that will persuade them to find some interest and to want to figure out what this lifestyle is about and what's involved. Psalms 31:23-24. O love yahuah, all of his yahid, for yahuah preserves the faithful, and plentiful rewards the proud doer. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart, all ye that hope in yahuah. So it's all about having that good courage, being strong. It takes that in order to live a life of righteousness, but there's so much reward, protection by doing so. In 2 Maccabees 7:20, but the mother was marvelous above all, and worthy of honorable memory. For when she saw her 7 sons slain with the space of 1 day, she bore it with a good courage, because of the hope that she had in yahuah. If you guys have never read the Maccabees, I highly suggest it. It is not one for the weak of heart, but it will strengthen you and give you courage if you're lacking it, to see and hear the story of how those 7 sons stood bold for yahuah, for his Torah, for the commandments, and then how their mother encouraged them during all that torment and death to still hold on to their beliefs and to not let the king persuade them into following him and stumbling. Just an amazing, incredible testimony that I feel like everybody needs to read. It surely strengthened me in many ways, and I still enjoy reading it, even though, like I said, it is probably one of the most difficult stories to read in the Bible. It is well worth it, and it will bless you immensely. So this last one I've got for today is out of Jasher 88:4. No man shall stand up against you all the days of your life. As I was with Moshe, so will I be with you. Only be strong and of good courage to observe all the Torah which Moshe commanded you. Turn not from the way either to the right or to the left, in order that you may prosper in all that you do. So, obviously there's a left and a right to this narrow path. We've all possibly jumped on both sides, trying to stay on it, trying to learn what it is about, this narrow path. And I just implore you to keep your sight on the straight and narrow. There is so much strength, promise, and protection in that narrow path by being his chosen people of Yasharel. And thankfully, we are grafted into that, and that we can have redemption and salvation because Yahusha took our sins that we may have everlasting hope and life in him. That does it for me today, for at least this morning. I better finish up because we're about to start Let's Talk Torah. So I hope you can join us for that. I hope you have a blessed day and continue to walk this narrow path out with us. Please reach out if you're struggling, if you need some encouragement. We are here to help, and we would love to hear from you. We have emails, telegrams, Facebooks, whatever is easiest for you to contact us. Please do so. And we hope that these shows bless you and that you can participate with us, fellowship with us here at Heart of the Tribe. So thanks again, everyone that joined in. I'll read these comments here as I sign off, but thank you for joining me. Hope you have a blessed day, and shalom to you.
On the mount of crucifixion, fountains open deep and wide. Through the floodgates of God's mercy, flowed a vast and gracious tide. Grace and love like mighty rivers, poured incessant from above, and heaven's peace and perfect justice kissed the gift